If you cast your mind back to when you were a wee child, be it 10 years ago, 20, or even last week if you're a little twig like Josh Brown, then alongside all of those outstanding memories of things like Monster Munch packs being bigger and the sheer thrill of opening football sticker packs, you'll find moments of pure Saturday morning bliss. Times when you'd wake up, scramble down the stairs and turn on the TV only to be wowed by the likes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Captain Bucky O'Hare, or if you were a real purist, the animated Dungeons & Dragons show. That is good fantasy. However, among all of these joyous moments were some absolute stinkers. At times when video games sought to break the boundaries of their boxes and try to invade our televisions and other home entertainment systems with their absolute tosh. Now don't get me wrong, some of these video game conversions, like the outstanding Pokemon series, are times when it absolutely worked. But the entries on this list, well, not so much. So strap yourself in for some truly awful animation, acting, and aggravating characters. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 embarrassing video game TV adaptations you won't believe got made. Number 8, Donkey Kong Country. So let's kick things off with a TV show that honestly has to be seen to be believed. Donkey Kong Country, as a game, it moved the entire industry forward as its clever use of impressive-looking models and sublime level design put this franchise on the map in a big way. However, when it came to the 3D animated kids TV show of the same name, my God, did things look awful. From the matted fur to the animation style itself, which can only be described as, let's move every limb at once because we're not sure how animal skeletons work, this was an assault to the eyes, made even worse when it also doubled as an assault to the ears when the cast started singing. Yes, that's right, your favourite ape was making a monkey out of what it is to be entertaining by singing awful songs for you each and every week. Not only are these moments so cringy that your skin might actually invert, but the animation looks like somebody is being attacked with a cattle prod. The narrative makes even less sense, however, because here, King K. Rool, which is pronounced wrong by the way as Krul, which is just stop, is trying to steal the crystal coconut each week from the Kongs. Why is never actually made entirely clear, nor is why it's a f***ing coconut in a world obsessed with bananas. Honestly, there is so little on offer here aside from an admittedly catchy intro song. Number 7, Legend of Zelda. Now, I'm kind of in two minds with this one, because true, as an animated series, this is akin to watching a scrapyard burn down and then trying to draw it with an Etch-a-Sketch for how rough it looks, but it's also the format that gave the world, well, excuse me, princess, which has inadvertently become one of the most banter one-liners that you can hope to chuck into a gaming conversation. But let's backtrack for a second and break down why this is about as honest a rendition of The Legend of Zelda as I am when I claim to be a hair model. For a start, the characterization of Link and Zelda respectively are absolutely terrible. Zelda is portrayed as a stuck-up snob and Link is an absolute grabber by today's standards, always trying to demand a kiss from Zelda for saving her. Link, mate, no means no, get it through your wonky-shaped skull. The plot is pretty much bare bones, with Ganon attempting to steal the Triforce of Wisdom from Hyrule each week and coming across about as threatening as a hug from your nan. His level of ineptitude is only matched by that of the show itself, because they changed rupees to rubies because the source material, am I right? And also never for 1 second mentioned the Triforce of Courage, despite the name Tri literally inferring a third piece. It's a very dumb series that clearly showed no understanding of the reference material, and there is no excuses for it being this bad. Number 6, Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. Okay, so if you were the manager of a property aimed at adults with tons of gore and blood all over the place, then what's the last thing that you'd probably consider doing with that IP? You probably wouldn't want to make an animated TV series aimed at kids, right? Well, that's exactly what Midway Games decided to do with the utterly lousy Defenders of the Realm cartoon. And what made it so bad? Well, if there's one thing that I'm sure that kids would have liked to have seen from this cartoon based on a game that they were probably too young to play, then it would have most likely been the much-touted combat scenes, right? Well, it's here that I'm going to have to treat you like Rich Hudson's lovemaking and let you down gently again, because the cartoon showed next to no battling, and most of what it did show was so badly animated that you get a better fight out of rubbing two pieces of dry toast together. Bland storytelling and characters that all just boiled down to their catchphrases provided an inane experience for even the youngest of viewers, and it was little surprise that the series wasn't renewed. The only saving grace actually came in the form of Quan Chi debuting in this series, and also the fact that Jax actually removes his arms, which answers a fan theory that has been floating around for ages. But not that this series could be counted as canon, and yes, that is canon with a K. Number 5. Ape Escape. Now, if there's one thing I love, it's the Ape Escape franchise. From its incredibly silly premise of monkeys running wild across time and space through to the outstandingly bad voice acting in the first PS1 UK game. If you've not played it, then you owe it to yourself to witness the first PS1 game to mandate analog control use and just how incredibly tactile the experience is. Nothing feels gimmicky and everything feels so smooth to control. I just wish that the same sense of polish and pride had transferred itself over to the animated series of shorts that were released in 2009, a full 10 years after the original game. This series of shorts was the most basic, phoned-in effort that could have ever been assembled, with the focus of the show now being Spectre getting into all sorts of wacky hijinks thanks to his ape assistants. Now, things hit a massive road bump as soon as the first episode begins, with the animation looking like it took all of a weekend to string together, and the jokes feeling like they'd been lifted from a Christmas cracker for all of their command of comedy. This truly belongs in the realms of so bad that it's kind of good, just because despite each short experience feeling like you're watching the actual concept of humour choked to death in front of you, you actually end up laughing at just how awful the effort is. Therefore, in a truly sickening way, the animation succeeds in providing entertainment. However, we're most definitely laughing at and not with this series in this instance. Number 4. Rabbids Invasion. I will never understand why the market has somehow dictated that Rayman is out, but his annoying, severely annoying buck-toothed enemies are very much in. But such is the way of the world that sometimes we will reward the stupid instead of celebrating the brilliant, and hence why Rabbids Invasion makes this list, because it is so bloody stupid. Now, the animation here is actually done really well in places, with a lot of expressiveness for the Rabbids, which, given that they don't speak, is actually pretty essential. However, here is where my praise ends, because the sheer level of sugar rush noise that just comes out of these bloated sacks of screaming flour that just makes me want to commit Legocide, which is killing bunnies. It makes me sad that the Rabbids, who are on the same bar as Minions when it comes to how little respect they deserve, have been given such a huge media presence, while Rayman, who is arguably cuter, better designed, and infinitely more charming, has been left to rot. So please, turn this show off if you ever see it and go pick up a copy of Rayman Origins or Legends or even the first few games to remind yourself of what beauty can actually look like. Number 3. Dragon's Lair. When you're basing an animated TV show on an animated video game that captured the hearts of millions across the arcade heyday, you better bloody make sure that your actual animation is at least close to that presented in the original, right? Well, clearly the message never made its way to the animation team behind the Dragon's Lair TV series, because this was like looking at the bloody napkin sketches compared to what was expected. Now, that's not to say that the product was without charm entirely, as there was some pretty stellar voice acting cast attached to this series, weirdly enough comprising mainly of people who provided voices for the Transformers series. It's just a shame that the only transforming feature of Dragon's Lair seemed to be taking everything that made the video game special and downplaying all of these facets. Here, Dirk was a brave but bullish hero with the brain of a brick, and whilst in the arcade Daphne might have been your classic sexual awakening moment, here she's a material-obsessed proto-80s yuppie, albeit in medieval times. And then there was Tim, the squire to Dirk, who is quite possibly the most aggravating and cowardly cartoon character ever. If this is meant to be the audience's anchor point, then the series creators really didn't think much of us, did they? Number 2. PacMan. One of the main concerns about adapting characters who don't speak into TV roles is that this transition might mean that they lose a lot of their character by having them dole out a load of bad dialogue. Now, somehow, the PacMan TV series managed to go even further by making this lovable pellet muncher into an absolute asshole. From start to finish of each of the 40-odd episodes, PacMan struts his stuff with a massively smug smile on his face and mercilessly butchers the bumbling ghost monster squad without flinching. watching, and somehow, we as an audience, well, we're meant to side with him. If you think I'm being hyperbolic, then just take a look at the episode Journey to the Center of Pac-Land, in which the opening segments show one of the ghosts begging for Pac-Man to show him mercy after his friends have been eaten by crocodiles. And you know what the yellow-bellied bastard says? He says, "I'll do you one better, I'll show you mustard," before squirting the condiment onto the poor spectre and then proceeding to eat him. And this is our hero. The show, aside from the casual vor-based violence, was pretty par for the course of the 80s. I mean, it was bland animation that sought to show the bare minimum of motion to maximise the cost effectiveness, a plot that revolved around Pac-Man and his family thwarting an evil wizard McGubbin's attempt to take over the world, and voice acting that felt like you were listening to members of Goodfellas who didn't get the callback. It was pretty dire. And number 1, Captain N, the Game Master. And so we end on an entry that held probably the most promise out of all of these other projects combined, as Captain N, the Game Master, was a series that sought to collect some of Nintendo's greatest heroes all together, united as one, and to have them take on some of the greatest enemies ever to plague a home entertainment system. And yet, this is easily one of the most disappointing reunions ever, as whoever was in charge of the character designs of this series clearly worked for Sega, as you know what, they were presented with so much disdain for their source material that it's actually insulting. Simon Belmont is now a super tan jock idiot with a brain power rivaling a wall turkey. Kid Icarus screeches his way through puberty with every line that comes out of his mouth. And Mega Man? Well, just look up footage of what Capcom did to him in Street Fighter X Tekken, and still, this is worse. As for some reason, he constantly spouts out "Mega" before each line and sounds like he's been gargling nails. I hate everything about this show, from its aggressively annoying characters to the fact that it pulls the Legend of Zelda cast back for one more reunion, which no one was bloody asking for, and its one saving grace, which comes in the form of Mother Brain, is so bizarrely ugly that I can't even look at it enough to enjoy the over-the-top line delivery. In fact, so horrifying was her visage that when your mother was giving me brain, I couldn't even finish. I'm sorry, love. This game is a captain of no one, and you should avoid it at all costs. And there we go, those were 8 embarrassing video game TV adaptations you won't believe got made. I hope that you enjoyed that, my friends, and please let me know down below what other ones you would have included on this list, because I might return to do a commenters edition further down the line. And I hope that you, yes, you listening to this, I hope that you go out there and have a great bloody day, because you deserve love, happiness, and success. Take that conceptualization of waking up on the Saturday morning and going down and excited to watch cartoons and eat very, very sugary cereal and apply that to your inside. You are allowed to relax, you are allowed to take a break from things, and you are allowed to have fun, because you deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do. And if you are struggling to get into that Saturday morning vibe, then remember you can speak to friends, family, and support professionals in the industry. Big love from me to you, and I hope that you enjoy your day. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me at RetroJ0 over on Twitter. And if you want to check out something a bit different, then remember I've got Live and Let's Dice going, which is a board game channel that I run here on YouTube outside of my time here with WhatCulture. As always, you have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.